Hello, everybody. On July 25th, 2022, Better Call Saul, Season 6, Episode 10, NIPPY, premiered on AMC. Hello, everyone. Once again, welcome to REwATCH Talk Live. We're your hosts. I'm Richard, and
I'm Jay. Hey.
Yay. And just a few notes before we begin. REwATCH Talk Live is a weekly podcast that will enthrall listeners with our views as we regurgitate movies and streaming shows. Join our Facebook page, REwATCH Talk Group. There is a link in the description. The Facebook page is public, so you may post and give us any suggestions that you feel necessary. You can also subscribe to REwATCH Talk Live on your YouTube in the YouTube link that's in the description. Plus, and if you're not in YouTube at the moment, and if you have any comments or stuff, our email is rtalklive@gmail.com. And for more great podcasts, check out NDB Media on Facebook, X, Twitch, and YouTube. Facebook. The Facebook link is in the description. Today we tackle Season 6, Episode 10, NIPPY, starring Bob Odenkirk as Jimmy, McGill, Saul, and Gene Takovic. It's like he has a multi-personality disorder right there. But anyway. And Ray Seahorn as Kim Wexler, but sadly she will not be in this episode, which I am getting, as I have just said. But however, with the most awesome special guest appearance is Carol Burnett. Written by Allison Tatlock, directed by Michelle McLaurin. Of the cast, we have the guard, or the Cinnabon guard, played by Frank, played by Jeff O'Hara. Marion, played by Carol Burnett. Caitlin Dutch, played by Kelsey Scott. Jeff's henchman, Buddy, is played by Max Bicklehop. Sorry about that. And Nick, the other guard, is played by Nathaniel McAugustin. So, let's get right into this, Jay. And what? Yeah. So I guess this is your thing. Let's start with you in the cold open.
All right. I will kind of relay before we get to the cold open for this episode. Okay. I want to relay that there was a couple of cold opens that was done in different seasons that would portray the black and white, which represents the future of Mr. Saul Goodman and Jimmy after the situation that happened in Breaking Bad. So all the scenes that we're going to see that are in black and white is representing his future of what happened to him. And in a couple of other seasons, they played some different cold plays or cold openings that represented that, where he was working at a Cinnabon location in a mall. I believe it's the mall Cotton Mall in Omaha. And from there, after he actually worked there, he actually had a situation, another episode in season 4 where he had a fall. He actually fell and dropped in the Cinnabon location. And after he did the fall in the Cinnabon location, he actually didn't really have a heart attack, but he just was kind of dehydrated. So that was one of the cold plays that was in one of the seasons. And the most important one, before we get to the NIPPY cold play, is where he was actually getting ready to take a cab and get dropped off at a location where his car was in the mall. And this guy, the cab driver, had this really weird look on his face, kind of staring at him. And he had an Albuquerque little freshener in his cab. And he had this look on his face, and Gene, as he was called, was kind of really, really nervous. He was kind of worried and just didn't know what was going on. So he stepped out and found out later on in another Coldplay that that same person and another friend popped up and called him out and told him, "Hey, this is I know who you are." And Jimmy slash Saul was like, "I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know who you are. I'm Gene." And he was like, "No, I need you to say it. I need you to really say it. Come on, say it for me. Say it for me." So he finally he said very lowly, "Better call Saul." And he's like, "Yeah, that's it." And he wanted him to do the point. So he did the point, "Better call Saul." So when he did that, Saul Goodman was kind of getting nervous and kind of feeling like he needed to actually get kind of go undercover again because his cover was blown. So he called his guy from the vacuum cleaner company, wanted to tell him that we got to do another situation where I need to kind of hide out, but it's double the money. And for some reason, Gene had this look on his face when he was on the phone and he kind of stared. And from that, he told the vacuum guy, rest in peace, that he said, "I got it covered. I don't need you no more. I'm going to handle this myself." And he hung up, and that's where we start with Coldplay with Nippy. And with that, Nippy starts off where we see a very surprising character, which I didn't know was going to be in this season when I did the watching it for the first time. I was really surprised as Carol Burnett was reaching out for some type of can in her little cart, her driving cart in the restaurant, or not restaurant, grocery store, and got some food and things like that. And then from there, we see that she goes and drives on her way home and gets stuck on some type of ice in her tram. And then we come and see Gene pops out of nowhere, clipping on, and you can see it in my background, little Nippy checking out lost dog named Nippy, and Carolyn Burnett's character was actually wondering what was going on, but she was more concerned with trying to get out of this ice. And Gene was kind of telling her, "Hey, I can help you," but she was like saying,
Right.
"No,
Well,
no, I don't want to help you."
well, a little bit more here. When we first see Marion, played by Carol Burnett, in the grocery store, he's trying to get a can because she's in a scooter. She's on the
Yeah,
scooter, and a guy offers to help her get it down. She goes, "Do I look like I need any help?" So right
right.
there, it tells you that she is not going to be a person that's going to let people help her or wait on her. So when she gets
Independent.
stuck, so when she's on her way home and gets stuck in the snow, which Jimmy or Gene did, he sabotaged her scooter. He asked her if she wants any help. No, I got it. No, I got it. But he's hanging up these posters or flyers for his dog Nippy. I don't know where he got. Probably got this picture off the internet or something for his dog.
Bro.
But that piques her interest. And he asks about, well, what happened to Nippy, and he lost Nippy. But let me ask you real quick here: what do you feel about the Chronochrome or the black and white segments of this? Do you like it being in black and white, or do you prefer the color?
Great question, Richard. In my opinion, by watching these episodes, I enjoy it. I enjoy the difference when it comes to the real life, I guess, the real version and the future version. I like it in the sense that it kind of gives people the opinion of what's in the past with Jimmy and what is the future when you're watching it. But by just watching it in the sense, it's I like it because it's kind of old fashioned. I mean, there back in the days before color, there was black and white TV, and I kind of, in my opinion, enjoy them putting it out there like that. What was your opinion on it? Did you like it?
I kind of had mixed feelings about it. I
Okay.
understand. I get that they do it so you can tell that there's a timeline switch. And I guess it does make sense because, it's kind of black and white. Maybe it's kind of grayish in for his future. I get that part of it too. Like, well, we're in the future and it might be a little grayish.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even though, I mean, it's more apropos that this episode's or the location is supposed to be Omaha, Nebraska than However, the mall they shot at is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The Cottonwood Mall is in Albuquerque. So they didn't actually go to Omaha to do this. For the mall anyway. I don't know if they shot in Omaha at all because I'm trying to figure out if the snow was added later in post. I guess we should know that because, it doesn't snow that much in New Mexico.
No,
not that much. So, so I don't know. They might have just put the snow in, and I don't know. Maybe it was fake snow. I mean, they do make fake snow, and that's a lot of fake snow. But you're right. I mean, I think I got something here, and let's see. Wait a minute, that's not it. Here, let's see what we got here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong one. Never mind.
No problem. No problem.
So
that was kind of almost like the ending part of the Coldplay, but but
that just gives you how he was able to finagle his way into her good gracious because he wasn't gonna because remember he asked twice and she said no twice.
Right. Be helped out the snow.
So using the pet flyer as a camouflage or a way to get her pique her interest was a good thing. So there you have it, and here, so she's stuck, and so when he goes to push her out, he cuts the wires so she can't start it.
Correct.
So it ends up right there. He's pushing her home.
And we don't really know at this time watching it who is she actually? I mean, we see her. This is the first time we never seen her ever in the other episode, so we still don't know who is this character. We just know that she's coming from a grocery store and she doesn't. I mean, she's very independent. She don't need no help, and that's kind of where we left off. So we're still kind of wondering what is going on. Why is Jimmy or Gene helping this lady? We still don't know. So it's kind of get our appetite for the rest of the show to see what's going on.
Were you surprised? And did you at first recognize that it was Carol Burnett?
Yes, I did.
And were you surprised?
Yes, I was 100% surprised.
Because that's one of the last people you expect.
Exactly.
I mean, just because of the name recognition. Just because of the name recognition. Carol Burnett. And I guess from what I understand, she was a fan of Breaking Bad. And she had dinner with Vince Gilligan and his wife.
Yes.
And he says something about about her being on Better Call Saul. And she said, I don't care what it is. Even if it's just one line, she would be on the show. So here she is. And just think about it. I mean, she played this thing perfectly. I mean, this shows her range. If you didn't know her range before. I mean, if you didn't know anything about Carol Burnett being one of the best comedian women in the world, having her own primetime show and everything else, here she's playing a dramatic role. She's played them before. So but anyway, I was glad to see her. And she just turned 90 this year.
Wow.
And if you want to see her ceremony for her birthday where they, her tribute, it's on YouTube. So just put like Carol Burnett 90th birthday and it'll come up, or every actress came out of everywhere to play her tributes. even Bob Odenkirk showed up to talk about that and stuff. And so anyway, so he pushes her home, and then he's just sitting there. They're drinking, sitting at her table, having a good old neighborly conversation now. And then the next thing you know, go ahead.
I was just saying before that, after that, where did you notice the intro the intro to Better Call Saul was a slight little different compared to the other ones with the music.
Oh yeah, plus
the music.
Yeah, and did you catch the videotape?
Exactly. That's why I wanted to bring up the VHS type of sound of like ejecting a videotape and then putting it back to get ready to record, and then it says Better Call Saul, and they had the little record symbol on the side. So
yeah,
it brought back memories.
And they even added to little, the little lines that you would have in a videotape where, it was all, but so it was a very nicely done reproduction. Anybody that's watched the VHS tape will recognize that, going, oh yeah, those were the days.
Yes.
So, where as everything is nice and smooth now with high def and Blu-ray and DVD, but back in the day when if you watch those videotapes a little bit too much, you'll see some wear and tear. And
oh my gosh. I remember those days.
Oh my gosh, especially back in the day when you were renting them and you didn't know how many times they've been watched, and you put it in like blah, 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 and yet sometimes you'd have to play with the VHS tracking to make sure, to straighten it all out.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you remember doing that, but I remember like sometimes you'd play with that tracking on the VCR just to get everything to smooth out a little bit. And and this was about the same thing. Yeah. So this goes back. Yeah, you really have to watch it because it snaps by fast where it says that Better Call Saul, and then created by Vince Gilligan. And so you kept thinking, well, what's that all about? Because I even paused it to see what the hell is this all about? Because I wanted, I should have got a screenshot, but I didn't. But it's anyway, yeah, that was interesting when you go through the credits on that, and it was very, let's find out here what we got. Yeah, I know what you mean. And let's see if we can. And come on. So anyway, go ahead with your. Hold on, I got it. I think I have something for you here.
Okay.
I maybe I'll get it right this time.
All right.
I don't know what they're doing to me, but they are. Let's see. There we go. Here we go. Boom!
You got it.
There it is, bro.
That's it. Perfect.
That's
what
man.
I was talking about. Yep.
Yeah. Look at that. Oh my. Yeah. This brings. Yeah. So there it is, the VHS tape thing, and it is. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yes.
So, well, after that, like we said, he's sitting at the dinner table with Marion, and they're having iced tea or something like that, and and then when we come back from that, we see the plow truck coming into the park out down the street to park there, and who does it happen to be in there, Jay? I was going to call you Jeff. You're not Jeff.
No, but it starts with a J, so that was perfect timing.
Yes. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, very good.
Because it was Jeff. Go ahead there with the Jeff thing there, buddy. This is because now we know what's going on, kind of. When we get after this, we go, okay, now now we're figuring out, okay, what game is he playing now? But go ahead, Jay.
Exactly. We come up and we see this, like you said, a cab, his cab coming out and driving up in the driveway to this house, and walks in with the sweater that he had in the other episode, and walks in and sees Gene and Mary, Cara Bonnet's character, talking. But one other thing that was very noticeable, if everyone was keeping up and seeing all the seasons from 1 to 6, that this character, Jeff, is different from the other types he was on season 4 and season 5, and where he was actually threatening Gene to say that, I know who you are. I know you're not Gene, you're Saul. So he comes up and actually talks and sees them talking, and he was totally very,
Okay.
very surprised. Who's this?
Okay. Well, real quick here, Jay, while we're there.
Yes,
Yeah, these in seasons 4 and 5, Jeff was played by Don Harvey.
yes,
And then since Don Harvey already had a commitment to another show, they changed actors to Pat Healy,
yes.
which is so if you notice something here, he made an appearance in episode 1 of season 4, 5, and 6. So that seems to be his moto operandi,
Yes.
of coming. And I wanted to ask you real quick. I like Don Harvey's portrayal of the character better than Pat Healy. I don't know if you notice anything different about that. And
I did. I did. It was, I mean, I could tell that Don had like a little bit more, in my opinion, when I saw it from the episodes 4 and 5, a more kind of a sneaky type of um, persona. He was really sneaky and really mischievous and making it felt like he made Gene a little bit more uncomfortable and worried and scared that this guy is going to come out, he's going to go to the cops, or he's going to go somewhere, or tell the cops that this the person that you've been looking for, he's over here, come and get him. And that's why you see that Gene or Saul always has that police um, being in his always in his possession to hear about any type of things are happening in the neighborhood as far as police activity, and because he's always worried. I mean, he's always looking over his back. He's always scared because he don't know if someone's going to come. So
yeah,
his portrayal of Jeff was way different, in my opinion, than the Jeff that was in season 6. I
right.
think it was split.
I don't. Yeah, it seemed like you're right. It seemed like that. The Dan Harvey character was really. I don't think he would have been that. He would have seen it, but I think he would have had more things to say to Jimmy or Gene. We kept calling him Gene from now on, and he. It just seemed like he was a little bit more laid back, a little bit more worried, like you said, and I don't think he would have been. But anyway, he when it comes down to is that his whole that Gene or Saul was there because he wanted to. He was talking to Gene outside. They went outside to talk near the garage, and he kept and Saul's like, "Hey, I know what you want. You want to do the crime thing, and you want and this and Jeff's like, I don't know. What do you talk English, man? What are you talking about?" He says,
Exactly.
You want to be in the game? I'll show you how to get in the game, how to be a criminal, how to do this, and this piques his interest. So whatever Saul's up to, this Jeff has flown into the Venus flytrap of the Saul. And so what'd you think about that? Him just saying, I'm going to get you, I'll show you how to get in the game. That was right there. That was the hook.
It was the hook, and I could just see it in Jeff's face when Gene was telling him the information and saying to be a part of the game. And you can see Jeff's little smirk on his face, like, yeah, that is what I want. He didn't really verbally tell him that, but you could tell that he was really kind of happy that we got Saul/Gene is going to come and give him some pointers on how to be part of the game and be somewhat of a criminal and try to be very deceitful when it comes to things. And I think you're going to mention something right now about Gene going back in his house and getting something that he hasn't worn in a long time, was his famous ring.
Yes, and there it is, the pinky ring. That's the pinky ring. Now we have to go all the way back to season 1 of Better Call Saul, and in a Jimmy McGill flashback. He had a friend named Marco. They were childhood friends. They pulled scams together.
Yes.
They met up again. They relived the old days in Better Call Saul season 1. But unfortunately, Marco died shortly afterwards, and that is and his and Marco's mother gave Jimmy the pinky ring as a token, and the lawyer still, wears it now. He put it back on. It's like I don't know if you've seen, the third Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises, when Christian Bale or Bruce Wayne starts putting on his suit again, even though he's all messed up. He's all broken. His body's all broken, but he has all this stuff on, these braces, and he is. So it kind of reminded me. It's not maybe that dramatic, but something like that. If you know what I mean, I think you know what I mean.
I do.
That is that he's like, man, I'm back. I'm coming back. I'm going to try it again. So here's Better Call. So I think right now is Gene is just he wants to get back in the game too, regardless of why his reason might be doing this. He's shaking off those bones, those skin bones. He's getting, he's shrugging everything off. He's like, oh man, let's see if I can do this. Whoa, this pinky ring feels good.
Right.
It's like back. And he's powering up again. He's got his suit. In a way, he's got his Batman or whatever suit, or maybe his Lex Luthor bald head, bald thing. But regardless, I'm rambling on. But still, he puts this pinky ring on, which signifies that he's also ready to get. He's also got things in the works.
Exactly. That's right. So, and he's planning. He's rubbing those hands together with his pinky ring and saying, "Okay, let's see what we can do and try to work with Jeff and see what we can do." That's what we're ready to see. What is the plan?
Yeah, I mean, it's so here we go. He's got that pinky ring in his hand.
Yes.
And there he is. He's all suited up.
Yep.
So, I know we'll probably get some more flack from that, but I don't care. I don't know. It's not that important, but it's important. But
as far as the rewatch is concerned,
I mean, yes. What I'm talking about is that we show something a real small clip, and sometimes we get busted for it because for some stupid reason and it doesn't make any sense. But that's neither here nor there. So go ahead there, Jay, with the rest of what you were saying.
It was, I guess, the next process was actually seeing what Gene has in mind as far as getting things started for this plan, and then we cut and see him working back at the Cinnabon location, getting all prepped up and everything. And it looks like he's getting ready to close shop for the night. Has his trash bag and actually some Cinnabons in his possession, and he goes and pops up, and from there he goes to the security room. Exactly. Looking at the camera, showing himself having the bag of cinnamon buns, and goes in and talks to the two security guards. And one of the security guards remembers him, and he was in actually season 3, episode 1. One of the security guards remembers him being like a smart addict and told the guy that was stealing those stuff, "Get a lawyer." And that's what he remembers. He remembers the guy.
Right. He was not too pleased to see
not too pleased at all. Say,
he did not have a very and Gene just said, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I was having a bad time there." And of course, Frank, the other security guard, he smells the Cinnabon and says, "Let that man in." He doesn't care what he's done. He smells Cinnabon, and that's all he cares about. So, and so he's invited in, and this is when we meet Frank, the Cinnabon guard.
Very good on the And I was going to mention about that on that perfect. That's a perfect picture just to mention. Have you ever seen anyone eat a Cinnabon like he did?
No, but
was ready for that question to you.
But that is the exact number of ums he always said. There was 5 of them, and so I don't know. I pride myself on having enough ums in there, and how you can't really tell how his voice cadence. But no, but this man, he attacks this thing like it's a religious item or something. He just goes to town. I mean, look at him. He, and I'm telling you, the montage of him eating that. In a way, I can smell it. Well, you've had a Cinnabon, haven't you, Jay?
Yes, I have.
So that smell is with you, and you smell it because you've been in the mall or whatever where you've seen this. And the montage of him eating was kind of like, okay, it kind of got, oh my God, that's just too much. This guy's gonna die. He's having because this isn't the last Cinnabon that Gene is going to bring him. I mean, this is going to go on for a long time, and he's going to be eating these things up. And you thought he was fat before, I never, but still, but this is all part of the plan, right? I mean, what is the Cinnabon ruse, Jay?
It was pretty much to get him distracted enough time to see him not observe the security cameras behind him. And every time Gene comes in with his Cinnabons, he actually saw him actually eating it almost like a cake. That's what I was thinking to myself. When he was doing the cutting and knifing in every single piece, step by step, he was cutting it like that Cinnabon was like a big cake.
I must be a pig because I never use a knife on anything like that. A cake, I will use a fork. A cake, I'll use a fork, but I'm not going to use a knife. I mean, it's not like it's a steak.
Right.
And I can understand using a knife on a Cinnabon because that is kind of has some thickness to it. Because if you can't really cut it you really can't go through with a fork. But I am a pig because if I eat that thing, I just grab it by the hand. I just use my fingers like rah, rah, rah. I don't I get that frosting and crap all over my face. I don't
Right.
So I must be a pig. So I don't care. I'm a pig.
He wants to be neat.
I'm a pig when I eat my Cinnabon. It's been a long, long time. I thought about going to a Cinnabon to do this show, but they're closed. They close at 5. So
I see.
It wouldn't have done me any good. But I thought about it. But then it was like today, and I thought I'll check it. It closes at 5, and plus I didn't want to go to Canton anyway. But I could have went to Canton. I don't care. But anyway,
that would have been pretty good.
That was an idea. But anyway, it's just that. To me, it must, like I said, I don't know how you eat your Cinnabons, but I'm a pig. I'm like a little pig, I guess.
No, I wouldn't eat it the way he was eating it. I would eat it with grabbing that hand of that Cinnabon and eat it. But he was just chopping away with it, and the whole point of that was just to see how long would it take for him to finish every single bite. And on average, it looked like it took about 3 minutes.
Right. And just real quick here, we don't see it, but right there, he's turned away from the monitors, as you can see in that picture. And this is the time that Nick has to go make his rounds, the other guard.
Right.
So
exactly.
Gene doesn't have to worry about Nick being there. And you're right. I mean, when he starts eating, he hits that his stopwatch, an old timey digital watch with a timer, not a cell phone. He just uses an old timey. And what gets me is that Frank starts talking about the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Correct.
And Gene just brilliantly just plays along like he saw the game and he's a fan. And really, he's when Frank says, what happened during that game, and Saul's like, and Gene's like, I can't even talk about it because it's true because he didn't see the game, but still, but he says it like, like it was something terrible. So that's what so they kind of bonded over the Nebraska Cornhuskers. They're a big team football team, in case you don't know. And so since they're in Nebraska, that makes sense, right? And
right.
So not only do they bond over him bringing Cinnabons, they talk about the Cornhuskers. And from that day forth, Gene becomes a Cornhusker fan too, because he starts getting the newspaper and starts keeping track of the game so he can talk a little bit more with Frank while they're, as he encamps himself during that time period in the security booth or room. Right, Jay?
That's right. To keep an eye on the conversation, see how conversation can keep on going, not just by him eating the Cinnabon, but also have conversation with the college football games too. So so Gene had I mean, his plan. That's one thing about this episode. It's like a machine. It's like a flow. How Gene thinks, and that's his mo. He's always been that way in other episodes with Better Call Saul. He always has the plan, and this is the plan for this scheme that he's doing with Jeff. So, and he goes and camps out things too. He camps out the mall too.
Anyway, before we get a little further, and a little tribute to Frank, who was always a big Cornhusker fan. They did play Thursday in this, and the Cornhuskers lost in the closing seconds with a field goal. This would just break Frank's heart. I'm sorry, it would just break his heart.
47-yard attempt for Kesich. Clean snap, good hole, got it up, and it's good.
So there you have it. I mean, that is just something that that's just something that they would probably talk about, or Frank would go on about if they were together watching that. I mean, that's a current game. It's more current, but still, I saw that during a highlight that I was watching. Like, well, that would make pretty good for this show.
Yes,
and perfect. Also gives another reason. Plus, gives another reason to get flagged. So I thought, we might as well get flagged for. If we get flagged for shit, we might as well make a go of it. Don't you think, Jay?
Yeah. Yep. Bring it out. Bring it out.
But still, that's an honor to Frank. I mean, he was a pretty nice guy. I liked him. So I like Frank. Did you like Frank?
I did. I felt like he was kind of one of those guys that you can actually imagine if you're at an Applebee's or a Chili's or even a Fridays at the bar, just sitting and just having a good old chat and watching baseball and college football. He seemed like he had that type of characteristic and character. Very, very friendly, very, very happy-go-lucky kind of guy that would you can just chill out and just relax with. And him as a security guard in that position, I think it's perfect for him because he really doesn't need to go anywhere. He just sits there and turns around with the chair and look at all these cameras and make sure that no one steals anything.
Oh yeah, because Nick does all the legwork.
Yes.
Not him.
No, not him. He's the cameraman. He's the one that took the camera.
Watches all those cameras. And that must become, you might think after a while, no job is easy. I mean, I'm sure watching those monitors, he's just sitting there, but still to sit there hour after hour watching these monitors. And the thing is, if you watch those monitors all night, would you feel like coming home and crashing in front of your TV?
No, no, I would be wanting to go to bed. I mean, it'd be too much watching screen. I mean, screen time should be over when you get home.
Right. I mean, that reminds me like you work at a job. Well, you work at a job too. You're probably in front of a computer screen during your job, right?
Yes, every day.
The last thing you want to do is come home and turn on the computer and do computer crap, right?
Right.
Because
exactly.
You spend 8 hours in front of one, and the last thing you want, even though you want to do it because you enjoy doing it, being on the computer. I mean, I do too. I mean, with the graphics and whatever. But still, if you're in front of your monitor at work, the last thing you want to do is come home, turn on the computer, and it's like, oh yeah, this is great. I mean, the best thing you can do. So, I mean, I know that's my experience anyway, is if I was watching monitors, I wouldn't want to come home and watch TV. I just want to crash and maybe listen to the ball game or take a nap or rest my eyes. Because, I mean, watching that, but like I said, every job has this drawback. So maybe Frank could go home and You can watch TV long enough to watch a Cornhuskers game anyway.
Yeah, because he was always talking about it every time he comes in and talks and chats with them. So he does have time to watch football.
And it was, it's so. I
believe after he after he kind of gets the idea of what the timing is of him not watching the screen, he kind of goes into the department store that has all the clothes and shoes and everything, and pretty much camped out the place. He walks around, looks at the clothes, he counts steps, he turns to the side and does other things to kind of get things prepped. And that's one thing about Gene and Jimmy. He's very smart. So he did all that camping out. Then you see him in the snow with Jeff and his friend camping out the place and kind of measuring it out to get prepared to actually go and do this heist of stealing all these clothes and shoes and everything. And Gene had this funny type of little rhyme and everything for each clothes that he picked up.
Let's stop and back up a little bit here.
Yep.
So his friend is Buddy. That's Jeff's henchman. His name is Buddy. And I thought this was very I don't know. This is really going into grave detail when you're going to actually build a replica of the mall floor.
Yes.
And plus you got to remember, this is where Jimmy or Gene talks about Walter White, refers to him in this show.
Yes, because actually Jeff didn't want to do it.
Well, he was kind of, yeah. But, right here, I can't read it. It says, this is what Jimmy was talking about. If a 50-year-old high school chemistry teacher can, and he talks about Walter White for the first time in Better Call Saul, or refers to him, right? And
yeah.
But look at this. He built this stuff, and he's having them time. He's having them run to get these products. Because beforehand, remember, Jimmy's already gone through this, or Gene. He's already went through what he wants them to take. He's went through the floor himself. How long there we go. And I'm just saying, let me show you here. Here's the watch. And that's about the right time, a little over 3 minutes, but to play it safe, you probably want to give yourself a 3 minute window.
Always a 3 minute window. Yes.
Yeah. Did you see was it there? Maybe it wasn't there.
It wasn't. I believe I still see right now.
I know. That was my bad. There it is. There. Where the hell is going on here? What is going? Something's going wrong here. But anyway, it's right there on Netflix, right? Share. Is it there now?
No, I just still see the snow and the.
Oh, I know why it's doing that. Never mind. My bad. I know why I have that overlay over there. But there's a watch.
Yes.
So
give it a time.
So you want to do that. You probably want to give just play it 3 minutes, and that way you have plenty. But Jimmy has already gone through saying and he's talked to some sales. He's just looking around. Some reason this mall has Armani suits. I don't know how that happened, but these suits they average about $1,500 and up or lower. But they're expensive suits. They're not something you go and they're not a J.C. Penney suit or a Sears suit.
No, they're not.
Jay, this is expensive. This is what you wear. This is what you wear when you come to play.
Yes, exactly.
This is probably what Howard wore. Armani. And part of the battle plan was to take only 3 items of each thing. That way that they won't miss them until they do inventory a month later. And Jimmy says they delete these tapes every 72 hours.
Yes.
So by the time, if they do notice, the tapes are gone and they don't know who.
That they've been right.
but yet here we are. I mean,
Excuse me.
that's a lot of things. That's just, to me, that's like, wow, he took that, he went to that, put up these polls and put up that tape. And even though you come in and you look at it for a scene, if you were actually going to do this, it probably took hours to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not something you're going to put up in 15 minutes. Don't you think,
No.
Jay?
No, not at all. This took a while. Took a lot of planning. I mean, they actually built the whole area, and luckily there was space enough for him to do it.
Yeah, and I read somewhere they compared this to something to an Ocean's 11 of a mall. Have you seen Ocean's 11?
Yes, I have. Yeah, so I know exactly what you mean.
I thought you did, but I don't want to say something. I mean, I don't know who's watched, but I'm sorry, Jay. But yeah, and I get, okay, that's interesting. Okay, it's an Ocean's 11 of the mall with only, I guess this would be Gene's 3. So, you know.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But still, we're going through this elaborate thing just to get. I'm not even sure it's worth it. I'm not even sure it's worth it. You go, okay, you're going to make some money, but still, it's a lot of planning just to steal some crap from them all. I mean, they're expensive items, but still, is it worth your nut? Is the nut worth it? You know, is it, or the money, is it worth it? That's what I mean by nut. Is it worth it? You know?
Yeah, I guess it was just a thrill. I think that's what it seemed like. Saul, Gene always want that thrill, and I guess he wanted to give Jeff and his the guy named Buddy that thrill of something like that, and give them that experience. And this is how to do it. So I think it always feels like it's always like fun and games, just like in another title of another episode. It seems like it's always fun and games when it comes to these things.
Yeah, for him.
Correct.
But still, here it is. Well, the thing is, if Jeff and Buddy, well, I think Buddy's all in, but Jeff kind of, but if he wants in the game, he's got to go through it. I mean, you can't be in the game and I mean, you can do it, but you'll get busted.
Yeah, that's what he was telling him. It's like forget it. Then he was almost like giving it away. So okay, if you really don't want to do it, okay, forget it, screw it. That's what he was kind of giving Jeff the riot act and saying, hey, I mean, if you don't want to do this, fine. I mean, we don't need to do it. And Buddy was like, I'll do it.
Buddy was all in.
He was.
The henchman was all in. And that's when Jeff said, that's when Jeff changed his mind.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm still muted. I didn't mean to leave. Anyway, so we go through all this, and it's, I believe we just, I guess the next thing is we go to game time, right? Where they start going through the mall. Now here,
exactly, game day.
Game day here. Now here's something. Now I'm going to show you. It's an old trick. It's centuries and centuries old. It's an old, and it's called, what's it called? The Trojan horse.
Trojan.
Okay. The Trojan horse. There it is. What, Jeff? No, Buddy delivers the box, right?
That's right. To one of the ladies that worked there.
Yeah. To a manager. Yeah, Kelsey Scott was her name. And so that was the character. And she's like, what is it? And it was some kind of product, some lighting or something. What the hell do we need this for? We don't want that.
Right. It was some type of piping or something, I think. It was some type of.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So here they are. She's like going, I don't want this thing.
Right.
And so of course, what do? You call up. She calls up his supervisor. Buddy's supervisor. And who's, and guess who the supervisor is, Jay? Who's the supervisor?
Good old Gene. He's at it again. Yep. I mean, he's done this so many times when it comes to Better Call Saul.
Yep. Yep.
Did it in the past with one of the other characters that was supposed to be a good church-owned going man, and he had all these cell phones, people calling in and for the cell phones. So Gene/Saul, he is good at giving a talk and giving information to make it okay for him to keep, or for her to keep that package there until the next night. I mean, he's good. He's just, that's one thing about Saul/Gene, that he is a very good smooth talker, and he knows what to say and how to say it and how to make her feel comfortable. And even mention at the end, I'll give you some flowers. You're so sweet. I'll bring some flowers the next day for you because you were so sweet. So it was very cool. I mean, that's Gene.
Yeah. And there's a supervisor.
Yes.
And she's, and of course he convinces her that after some talking, and that he says, you know what? He says he can come pick it up, but he's 4 hours away. And she's like, well, I'm not going to be here that long. And then he's going, oh man, my boss is going to get so mad. And she finally kind of feels sorry, or kind of goes, look, if you promise to come get this in the morning, it can stay here. And once again, Saul or Gene works his magic. And so the Trojan horse is planted.
It's planted. It's in play.
It's in play. The horse, the Trojan man, is in play. And, it is, and it's, it's, so anyway, so it's time. I mean, he's got to bring in the Cinnabon and get everything, get his mind off of the monitor.
Yep, good old Frank. The Frank.
Yeah, and
he starts eating his Cinnabon, and I believe Saul/Gene puts it on the cell phone and says, "Go."
Yeah,
and tells Jeff to get out of that Trojan horse, like you mentioned, and start doing the work that he needs to do by getting all the stuff out this place and what they plan, how they're planning it.
Yep. And so he's off and running. He is booking Jeff, also known as Ricky. We find out that his name is Ricky.
Yes.
That's his work. That's his sobriquet. His name is Ricky, and he's the one running around, getting 3 of this and 3 of that and blah, blah, just going to town, my friend, right?
Yep. He was up there. He was making sure he get that 3 minutes. That 3 minutes was going and ticking as he was going and doing all that. It was perfection. He was just going through each one and getting ready to do this one, and then go upstairs, put some back in the box, then go back. And it's pretty much what happens. It seems like it always, when game day happens, there's always something happens with Gene or anyone. And this happened, which was totally surprised and unpredictable. Him running and slipping and falling on his head and bumped his head onto the floor.
Yeah. Well, but I guess we forgot to mention that at the night there's a guy on floor waxer, a machine. Similar to the one I guess you would use, a Zimba or whatever it's called for the hockey rink. I forget what it's called now, but something like that. But it's for waxing the floor.
Because they saw like a little skirt or something like a black little mark in the area of the department store.
Right. And go ahead.
No, it was exactly right. When that happened, it was totally surprised when he went through there and he had all the clothes and everything and just slipped and fell. And I mean, it was just so, I was totally shocked when I was watching it.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God. I mean, I was like, oh no, that's what I put on myself. I was like, oh no. And you could feel Gene when it happened. He actually was drinking coffee. He was like, oh my God. Oh my God. How this happened? He was just totally like shocked, and he was knowing time is ticking, and he was just laying there, and he's like had to think on his toes, and honestly, I would say after from what we heard in that scene after he slipped, that was almost like the real Saul, or I should say the real Jimmy. He was actually even though he was talking to Frank, but I really think he was really honestly telling about his life, which is true. He has no friends. He has no mother, no father. My brother died, and he was explaining his life to Frank, which is really sad. And we witnessed this. I mean, some of it we witnessed from other seasons about Jimmy's life, and it was sad.
So here we go. Here's the man on the floor, on the screen. He's way over here, but you can see him.
Yes.
And so the best laid plans, as the saying goes, right, Jay?
That's right. That's right.
So he does. He gets real personal, and we understand that what he's saying is true, like you said, but he has to keep his attention because if Frank turns around, game over.
That's it. Yep. He had to keep on talking. Put his little fake tears and fake crying to Frank and tell him about his life and how he's feeling and everything. He's like telling him that if I die right now, no one would come see me. No one would even know that I'm gone. He was just elaborating to Frank his sob story to him to kind of deter him from looking behind. He was like, look at me. Look at me.
Right.
He was really pulling it. It was really pulling it off to try to see if this guy, Jeff, I should say, wake up and finally keep on doing his job.
Now, look at this. I think this is when him telling that story, everything got to him, and he has to pause right there and collect himself because, that's what that's about. I believe when he steps there and puts his hands, he just told his life story over again, and it got very personal with Frank, and right there he has to catch. He has to get back in the game himself. He's kind of, he had to improvise. He did. They got away with it too, so he has to breathe. He has a, have a sigh of relief, like, oh my gosh, he barely got that one out. But I think that's part of the rush too, though, Jay. Don't you? Don't think that's part of the rush? That you don't know what's going to happen, but even though you don't want it to happen, it's part of the rush.
Part of the rush, yes. It gets that heart pumping when you just don't know what to expect, and that's what happens when you're doing these games and these plans. I mean, sometimes plans doesn't go to fruition. You kind of get sidetracked and something happens, and you got to think on your toes, and that's what Gene did. Again, he's done it before. We shared in doing the rewatch before. We shared a couple of times of him doing that. Example was one with the cone, when he had the cone with the parking lot, things like that. Just thinks on his toes.
Yeah. Well, something happens, he has to fix it. So this is just part of the course. For those of us that have been watching season, but season 6, you're right. We've been talking all season about no matter how well he prepares, something goes awry.
Something goes awry.
Sorry, I had to burp. So
it's okay.
I didn't think our fans would want to hear me burp. If they do, I can do it later on in another episode. Just send a request to our email or comment on our Facebook group page, and the link is in the description. So just come and join.
Please do.
REwATCH Talk Live, the group, and we'll be all set. So this is just part of the course, but they got away with it. As you know, and this thing has happened because you're thinking, because when you're watching this thing, you're thinking, oh my gosh, Frank, don't turn around. Oh, Frank turns around, but Jimmy, like you said. So anyway, we're done. He's done, and what's next, Jay? What I know where I want to go next, but maybe you want to go somewhere else. You go ahead, buddy.
Okay, no, I think I'll relay it to you and to see if this is the direction. But right after that scene, we get him going into. Actually, we see Jeff coming out of the department store the next day, walking in and just kind of leisurely walking around, seem like he's one of the customers and checking out jackets. And then behind him, he hears his buddy talking to the manager lady, explaining to him, I'm back to pick up the as you said, the Trojan horse, pick it up. And he even mentioned to her, the manager, say, I got you some flowers too, like I promised. And you can see Jeff's little smirk on his face when he heard that. It's like, wow, it's like this is sound like everything is perfect.
Yeah, and but then that's all part of the planning too. Gee, they could have just skipped that part and left the Trojan and left the. I mean, I guess not leave the Trojan horse, but they could. But that would have been suspicious. But still, he didn't have to bring the flowers. He could just say, "Yeah, blah blah."
Right.
But still, he played it through. He played. It was probably discussed in the pre-planning stages. Like you have to come back and bring your flowers. So that was probably already sitting in his truck, waiting all night for him to grab it. Anyway, for her. But yeah, that's just part of the ruse. And that's the difference between professionals and wannabes.
Mm-hmm.
Is the planning and how much how far you want to be in the game.
Exactly. That's right. Exactly. So they come out and pretty much walk out. And then we see them going at Gene's house, or not Gene's house, actually Jeff's house in the garage, celebrating and happy and all that. And that's giving some like high fives and everything and showing all the clothes and everything. And that's when Gene comes out and explains to them about what they did and ask him, are you really proud of yourselves? And kind of give them kind of the right at a little bit and kind of saying that you got away with this, but don't take it over. Don't put it over your head that you did all this.
Well, that's not the only thing, too, either. I mean, this is where Gene drops the bombshell. He drops it, and he says, "Oh, the reason we did this is because mutually assured self-destruction. Because he did this, so Jeff will not ever say that he is Saul Goodman. He did this to protect his ID. This whole ruse. I mean."
That was the plan.
Jimmy could care less about the product. Right?
Right.
So it's mutually assured destruction, as the old saying goes during the Cold War, and even today when it comes to nuclear warheads and all that good stuff, and all that fun stuff that we deal with every day here in the world. But that was the whole thing. We find out that all this was just so that he would have crap on Jeff. So Jeff would never think about turning him in, because I think Gene didn't want to move again. I think Gene said yes. Plus, it was twice the money. Who knows how much money he's got left, and he's just working at a Cinnabon. But it seems like he had enough money to do another one at the cost regular. It seems like he had enough money to do a regular switch or new ID, right?
Yeah.
Called the vacuum guy. I wish I remember his name. Because I mean,
and he was actually
but you did say R.I.P. because that vacuum man did pass away shortly after the series, and I can't remember his name, but he played that character very well. He was a good actor,
very good actor.
And anyway, go ahead with. But anyway, what are your thoughts on that?
That was actually you're right when it came to Gene / Saul wanting to kind of make sure that everything is kind of settled when it comes to Jeff, and making sure that Jeff doesn't come out and says anything negative or tell the cops that I know Saul is over here. You can arrest him. He's wanted by so many people and everything. So you can come and get him. He makes sure that everything is pretty much covered. And then he really was strong and adamant to Jeff and Buddy that was a one-time deal, a one-time situation, that we're not going to do this anymore. This is it. And he really defined it to him, that saying, this is it. And I need to hear it from you.
Right.
That's why Gene was really, really one of those times when you can just see his seriousness when he came to Jeff and Buddy to tell them that no more.
Real quick, the vacuum guy the character's name is Ed Galbraith, Braith or whatever, but he's played by the actor Robert Forster, and a very
good actor. Very
good character actor. No questions, But anyway, we need to give him his props.
Yes,
because he's in both both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and I believe he passed away a few years ago. And so it's probably right after that series. After that, I mean, maybe last year, because he did do that, and then he passed away. And very good character actor. So I'm glad we can get. He
was also in El Camino too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he had to get Jesse his new ID.
Exactly.
But you'll see him pop up in all kinds of movies. I mean, you'll be watching a movie, you go, "Oh, there he is!" Exactly. And I'm sure he gets more recognition now. That he's added to his fan base because of Breaking Bad. So people that watch Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul will go, "Oh yeah, that's that man. It's the vacuum man." So yeah, I mean, I know I do that. Don't you do that sometimes? That's the I don't know if you see them in any other stuff, because you be watching them.
Yeah, I believe I have seen them in other movies. Yeah. Very good actor.
Anyway, blah blah blah. So go ahead, Jay. That's it. I mean, he's very serious. We're not going to do this again. We did this, Jeff. He did it to save maybe $400,000.
Exactly.
Because it was going to cost double. I think the original was what, 100 and some thousand, maybe, or something. I can't remember what the original price was, but double that.
Oh yeah, I did see the little tag. It did show the tag. That's right.
Yeah, so I mean, it cost a lot of money to do this. I mean, he wasn't cheap, but he was good. I mean, and he had the perfect thing, man. He ran this out of a vacuum cleaning place, and so what I mean. And he would not. And remember, he was hard ass too. He wasn't, because Jesse was like only a couple grand short, and he goes, "No, it's 175 or whatever it was. It's 175,000. If you don't have that money, bye. See you later." Because Jesse was not that short. But Ed was not going to say, that's okay, I'll take. They said, "No, fuck you. I mean, screw you. I want my 175." Yeah. So anyway, and that's how it ends, right? Doesn't it end after that, or is there something a little bit more after he gives them
there was a little, I would say just a little bit more in the I guess
there's a scene between. Yeah, that's right. Because remember, Marion comes out to the garage.
Yes.
See what they're doing out there. So she's kind of coming into their hideout, the secret lair. And guess what she finds?
They kind of fake it out, and they were looking at it, fixing a car, or talking about how a car pieces, or kind of renovate a whole car, and kind of smooth talk her to kind of avoid.
She wasn't very good at sneaking up, was she?
No. She had that little scooter.
Yep. And there they are. Yeah. It's a guy thing in the garage talking about cars, right? That's the guy. That's a guy thing. And I mean, not all guys do that, but I don't know if you stand around and talk car engines with your buddies at the truck stop. So I don't know. Have you been to a truck stop yet, Jay?
Not yet.
It's on your bucket list, isn't it?
I think so. I think it will be.
Oh well, maybe
it will be.
Well, if you ever do go to one, give us an update or a live update, or film it for us. Say, "Here I am. Get off my back. I'm at a truck stop.
I found one. I know what it's about now."
And if my body disappears, you know where I am. So yeah. So yeah, she is. Yes, yeah. I think now she's suspicious that nothing's good's happening here.
Yeah.
Right? I think she's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
But I think she still likes Gene. I think
Yeah, she
she really
likes
still
Gene.
likes Gene.
I forget why she came out though. What was her reason? I don't want to play the volume, but do you remember why she came out?
She was just trying to find out. She actually came out because she saw Gene's car, and she saw Gene's car parked,
yeah. She
and
found it
she wanted
parked
to
out.
see Gene because they wanted to talk and find out what happened with Nippy. Is Nippy okay?
Right. Yeah.
She kind of explains to him that told Gene that you are a good influence.
That's right. He found that Nippy's home, right? Nippy's home.
Yep.
And yeah, I guess I kind of dropped the going balls deep by not remembering what she was talking about, but I'll get back on track next week. But you're right, she did. And he's saying this family found Nippy and brought the dog home. I don't know if it's a him or her. I don't think they've decided, but
right, yeah.
But yeah, you're right. And you can see that. I mean, you would go out and ask about if your friend found their dog, which he was putting flyers all over the neighborhood, right? That's what you would would do.
You were curious.
It makes sense. It's not something contrived. It's like, hey man, hey Gene, how's your dog? Did you find your dog? And it makes sense. Right.
Yep. And he gave his little story about it, and kind of I guess she believed what he said, and that's kind of how they left off there. And then we see him last scene. We see him back in a department store, walking around. Seemed like he has this little chip on his head and looking around the clothes. And then he looked at some type of flashy shirt that back in the day when he used to wear when he was Saul Goodman.
Yeah.
Kind of posed in the mirror, looking at it, kind of giving a little pose and showing it off. And then he kind of puts it away and puts it down and walks away and kind of walks away from the department store. And that's kind of how the episode ends, where it kind of saying that for what we see here, that everything worked out good for Gene to get Jeff off his back and everything is good. And he's pretty much safe as a Cinnabon manager. That's how this episode ends. So we kind of get to that level of seeing what's be next. Exactly. There it is.
Right. There's the suit.
Yep.
And I guess if it was in color, we would see how flashy that suit really is. But
exactly. Now that was the time I would like it with big color.
Yeah, but even though it's chromachrome or black and white, you can still say that the color is going to fly. You can see that was probably going to be a very colorful, old-fashioned, Better Call Saul suit that he would wear back in the day. So he's going down memory lane at the end, probably because of the personal stuff he had to go through with Frank. So I think he's still in that mindset. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I just think, okay, he talked about himself to Frank, and now he's like, okay, so he's going down. He's feeling a little nostalgia maybe and grabbing the suit. What do you think there, Jay?
I think so. Just going back my memory lane and just kind of feeling like those were the good old days, and those days are over. And I'm back as a manager at a Cinnabon that he always relayed to Walt in that little area where they were downstairs in the vacuum in the basement, and relayed to him that I'm going to be working at a Cinnabon in Omaha. And lo and behold, he actually did, from all the cold plays that we've seen in other seasons of Breaking Bad. Better Call Saul.
Right. So you're correct. And gosh darn it.
And that's how this episode ends.
You're right. It does end that way. So after this, we only have 3 episodes left.
3 episodes.
And what's the next episode called? Do you know? I'm looking for it.
Yes.
Oh, there he is.
Breaking Bad.
Thanks for covering my butt on that one. I was looking for it. I could have had that It's called Breaking Bad. So that should give you an insight of what we're going to be talking about in episode 11. So there may be some, well, we can't say surprise cameos, but we know she expect some cameos from one of our favorite meth dealers.
Yes. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be really exciting to really relive some situations in this this episode.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. I mean, I'm just, we're done with this one. Now we can breathe a sigh of relief, like Gene did in the hallway, and this go, "Woo, this one's done." Now we can move on to the next one. And it's always fun to get ready for these episodes too, though. I don't mind it. I have a good time getting the notes and trying to get information and going into the balls deep abyss of Better Call Saul right now.
Exactly. I enjoy it a lot too. I enjoy kind of marinating all the scenes and kind of seeing it from a different perspective and get your point of view and everything.
I love marinating. There you go. Whoa, Jay out with that's a good one. I love it. Yes, You're right though. And I think so. I hope everybody, enjoyed this review. Hey, if you want to go, why don't you go? I don't know if anybody's doing this, but watch along. Go ahead and watch episode 11. That way, when we come back and discuss it, you'll have an idea of what we're talking about. Hopefully, I don't know. So I don't know if we ever come that clear when we come over things. But still, like I said, episode 11, Breaking Bad, next Sunday at 6 Eastern Time, 3 Pacific.
Yes.
So, and Jay and I will be ready to go as we get to the final countdown of Cole Saul. Whoa. So everybody have a good week. Have a great Labor Day tomorrow.
Yes, be safe. Don't drink and drive. Be safe. And call a friend. Make sure to call a friend.
And don't put your hand in the barbecue without mitts or whatever. Just, And remember to put out those campfires if you're out there camping too. So don't want to have any more forest fires. But anyway, everybody have a good Labor Day. We'll see you next week. I'm Richard for REwATCH Talk Live. And of course, my co-host is
Jay.
Yes. So everybody have a great week. We'll catch you
later.
later.
Guys.